From Disney Channel to Euphoria and everything in between, Zendaya has been booked. And seeing as how her net worth is sitting at a hefty $15 million, we'd say her hard work has definitely been paying off. Euphoria. It's probably one of her most notable roles to date, and it's safe to assume she's taking home a huge chunk of change from it. The reception for the show has been generally positive, and the same can be said about Zendaya's portrayal of her character Rue. We may not know exactly how much she was paid for Euphoria, but it was reported that Zendaya's co-star, Sydney Sweeney, was paid $325,000 for 13 episodes, which is already a lot of money. And Zendaya not only played the main character on the show, but she was also the executive producer. So we're gonna go ahead and agree with other sources that assume she was paid at least twice that amount. Spider-Man franchise. When the Marvel Cinematic Universe is involved, you better believe that's where the big bucks are. The MCU is known for their big-budget productions, so we're sure the actors were paid a pretty penny. So far, Zendaya has appeared in 3 MCU Spider-Man films, alongside her real-life boyfriend, Tom Holland. And while we can't be sure how much she was actually paid, Showbiz Galore reported that she was paid $2 million for the latest installment, Spider-Man No Way Home. And she may or may not be making even more money from the franchise. It's not confirmed whether or not Zendaya will reprise her role of MJ, but Sony and MCU Spider-Man producer Amy Pascal confirmed that there will, in fact, be 3 more Spider-Man films, so TBA on that for now. Dune. One thing we've seen from Zendaya, and one thing you'll continue to see over the course of this video, is that she's a woman of many talents. And when it comes to her acting career, she's proven time and time again that she's not afraid to step out of her comfort zone and show some range in her acting abilities. So when Dune was released in October of 2021, it wasn't too surprising that she did a great job portraying her character, Shani, even though it was a smaller role that she didn't get a ton of time to prep for. And talent like that deserves to be paid. It was reported by Showbiz Galore that for the smaller role she played in the film, she was paid an estimated $300,000. But the director of the film, Denis Villeneuve, mentioned that Zendaya was set to appear in a bigger role in the sequel film. And if that's true, that could mean even bigger checks for the talented actress. Malcolm and Marie. The film that was entirely written, financed, filmed, and released all during the pandemic, and the first in Hollywood to do so, is also the film that granted Zendaya a Critics' Choice Award nomination for Best Actress. The black and white romance drama film that was directed by Euphoria creator Sam Levinson also gave Zendaya the opportunity to hone her performance skills in a new and creative way. And while Zendaya's actual salary information is kept private, the film sold to Netflix for $30 million. And seeing as how both Zendaya and her leading co-star John David Washington were the main characters, who were also producers for the film, we'll assume Zendaya's check was anything but short. She even set up a financial system that allowed the entire crew to earn points on the film. That way, when the film sold, they'd also be able to take home a pretty paycheck. 2022 SuperBowl Ad. Even if you aren't a football or sports fan, chances are you've at least tuned in to the major event to see the ads, and probably the halftime performances as well. It goes without saying that the Super Bowl has given us some of the most iconic ads to date, and this year, Zendaya will be featured in a big one. Squarespace, the website building platform that sponsored nearly every YouTube video and podcast episode out there, has partnered with Zendaya for what we can assume is going to be a pretty memorable ad this year. There's no telling how much she's been paid for this ad, but according to Front Office Sports, a company that wants to run multiple 30-second ads, are going to have to pay a hefty $7 million per slot. So there's probably a chance Zendaya's taking home a hefty check for her ad running during one of the biggest sporting events of the year. Space Jam: A New Legacy. While the original Space Jam film that starred Michael Jordan was an iconic part of childhood for a lot of us, there was a good amount of hype for the sequel starring LeBron James as well. Zendaya voiced the character Lola Bunny, and according to an interview with Entertainment Weekly, she was excited for the role and had always wanted to work with the film's producer, Ryan Coogler. And with a project like Space Jam, who wouldn't be? Zendaya's salary for the film is unknown, but seeing that the budget for the film was over $150 million, we'd like to think Zendaya got a pretty decent chunk of that. The Greatest Showman. Remember a few minutes ago when we mentioned how much range Zendaya has as an actress? The film is a great example of that. While Zendaya isn't a newbie in any way when it comes to singing, and we'll get more into that later, The Greatest Showman showcased her vocal talents in a way we hadn't seen before. Not to mention the fact that this was a hugely star-studded cast, and that probably contributed to the film's huge $84 million budget, which we can assume Zendaya was compensated pretty nicely for. It's also worth mentioning just how wild wildly successful this movie was, bringing in over $430 million worldwide, which is a number most of us can't even fathom. High-end brand endorsements. Aside from being a talented actress, Zendaya has also become an iconic figure in fashion and beauty, and she's got the brand endorsements to back it up. She's been the face of brands like Lancome, Bulgari, and Valentino, all of which are big brands with even bigger budgets. There's no telling how much she was paid for her endorsements, but you can bet it was a pretty penny. When Julia Roberts was a spokesperson for Lancome, she was reportedly paid an astounding $50 million. Seeing as how Zendaya has been with the brand since 2019, it's assumed she's making at least 7 figures from the brand. And we're sure working with Bulgari comes with its perks as well, seeing as how Zendaya arrived at the 2021 Oscars wearing $6 million worth of Bulgari diamonds. It was also reported that the dress she wore glows in the dark, because, well, why not? Affordable, yet still lucrative, brand endorsements. While we're sure being the spokesperson for luxury brands is great, Zendaya is also known to work with brands that the average consumer could also afford to get their hands on. And in 2016, she did just that when she became the face of CoverGirl. We don't know the details of her contract, but we do know that working with CoverGirl is a huge deal. They've partnered with countless iconic celebrities such as Katy Perry, Queen Latifah, Janelle Monáe, and Sofia Vergara. So we'd like to think those checks were pretty lucrative. She's also worked with Boohoo and She Hair Care. Real estate. We already know that Zendaya's acting career and her partnerships with multiple highly acclaimed brands has turned out to be pretty lucrative, but she also has a couple of listings on her real estate portfolio. When she was 20, she bought herself a $1.4 million mansion in Northbridge, California. The home comes with vaulted ceilings, an entirely marbled master bathroom, and is spread out over 4,000 square feet. But in 2020, she bought another home in the San Fernando Valley neighborhood of Encino, and she paid a whopping $4 million for the quiet and secluded ranch-style home on a huge 4-acre lot. We'll say she definitely earned it. Disney Channel series. We may be used to seeing Zendaya's face all over the covers of Hollywood projects now, but she had to work her way up to get there. In fact, she got her start on Disney Channel, like so many of our favorite celebs who were also childhood stars. Her big acting debut was for a show on the network called Shake It Up, where she starred alongside Bella Thorne. Her salary for that show is unknown, but she also starred in another sitcom called Casey Undercover, and it was reported by Entity Mag that she was paid roughly $400,000 for the first 2 seasons. Disney Channel original movies. But of course, this is Disney Channel we're talking about here, and it's common for them to cast young, multi-talented actors in an original series and later bring those actors on to star in their original films as well. Or the other way around. In this case, Zendaya starred in a number of Disney Channel movies, including Frenemies, which she stars alongside Bella Thorne again, and Zapped. According to Entity Mag, she earned around $280,000 for her role in Frenemies, and Zapped earned her around $160,000. Dancing with the Stars. When she got her start in acting and starred in Shake It Up, Zendaya was able to showcase her skills as a dancer. And those skills definitely seemed to carry over when she competed in the 16th season of Dancing with the Stars. She was only 16 years old back then, and at the time, she was the youngest contestant to compete on the show. She and her partner finished as runner-ups when the show ended, and because she'd made it so far in the competition, it was reported by E! News that she made around $345,000 for the entire run of the season. Zendaya Album. We mentioned earlier in the video that Zendaya isn't a newbie when it comes to music, and while part of that may be because she got her start on Disney Channel, and pretty much every child star on the network tends to sing as well, she also released an entire album back in the day. She's released a few singles before coming out with her self-titled album, and according to Entity Mag, one of her leading singles, Replay, even made it to number 40 on the Billboard Hot 100. Though her album reached moderate success, she eventually left the music industry and focused her talents on her acting career. Fashion line with Tommy Hilfiger. When we said that Zendaya became an icon for beauty and fashion, we meant it. The woman's talent literally knows no bounds, and this fashion line collaboration with Tommy Hilfiger is a prime example of this. Her fashion designs were inspired by the zodiac signs, as well as fashion icons from the 70s and 80s. It's unknown how much Zendaya made from this collab, but the reception to the line has been pretty positive. She was praised for her inclusive sizing and for showcasing diversity with her models. For the second collection she did with Hilfiger, there was a fashion show at Harlem's iconic Apollo Theater, and from the posts shared on social media about the event, it seems like something we all would have loved to be in attendance for. At 25 years old, this woman has led the type of successful career that most of us can only dream of. But with Zendaya's work ethic, values, and her gift for empowering others, it almost feels like a win for all of us whenever she reaches a new milestone. Let us know what you think of today's video down in the comments below, and to learn more about your favorite stars, be sure to like the video and subscribe to The Things Celebrity.